This episode is brought to you by DistroKid.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Hey everyone, today's guest is Stacey Dee, guitarist and vocalist for the San Pedro, California punk rock band Bad Cop, Bad Cop. Stacey and I take a deep dive into the writing, recording, and inspiration behind their 2017 fan favorite single, Womanarchist, taken from their second full-length album, Warriors. I've known the Bad Cop ladies for some time now, and it was a pleasure to catch up with Stacey. The track was produced by Davey, Warsop, and Fat Mike. When I asked Stacey how that dynamic was, she said at times it was strained, because Bad Cop had been working with Davey since they began. But Mike was adamant about co-producing. These checks and balances, so to speak, are what ultimately made the record better. The track was written by Stacey and Davey, but it was Mike's ear for harmonies that sent this one over the top. The song on the surface is about women's rights. But as Stacey went on to explain, the lyrics are also referencing where she was in her life at that time, having just come out of a serious dark period. Oh, and I had no idea, but Stacey informed me that she's the world's best pick slider, and this song is proof. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a second.
Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast.
Stacey, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Not too much. I feel like I just saw you. I kind of just did a couple months ago at the Punk in Drublic, NoFX's last 3 shows in a weekend over in your hometown.
That's right. San Pedro. It was a blast. It was overwhelming.
It was overwhelming for a lot of reasons. I flew out super late, got to California late on that Friday. We played Saturday, but you ladies were nice enough to let us use your rehearsal space in San Pedro, where we got to actually dust off the cobwebs before our show. So thank you very much.
It was a hoot for us too. You know, anytime a band comes in and wants to use our studio, it's always cool.
No, and the place you're at, it's like a time warp. It was like walking into like the 70s or 80s, and then we get into your practice spot, and it was this huge view of the bay out there, of the water. It was very cool.
Yeah, you should see when the full moon comes up, and we're at rehearsal, and the full moon's right there. It's like we howl at it like we're witches. You know, it's amazing.
That's awesome. Well, the song we're going to talk about today, I'm pronouncing it Womanarchist?
That's it. Yeah. Womanarchist. Like, yeah.
Womanarchist.
Womanarchist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's Womanarchist wouldn't work.
No, but people say that all the time. Womanarchist or people get it wrong constantly, but it's Womanarchist. Yeah.
Well, a little bit about Bad Cop. Stacey's on vocals and guitar. Myra plays the drums, and Lynn's on the bass. On this particular track, Jenny was still in the band, and now Alex has been playing with you, I think, for about 2 years now, right?
Yeah, just over 2 years now.
Okay, very cool. You guys are from San Pedro, as we said, formed in 2011, signed to Fat Records in 2013, and released the EP Boss Lady. Your debut album, Not Sorry, was released in June 2015. And Womanarchist is from Bad Cop's second album, Warriors, which was released June 16th of 2017. And I remember around the time this record was done, running into Fat Mike and him just saying, "Oh man, you got to hear the new Bad Cop. It's so good. It's so good." And I think that he definitely thought it was great, but his name's also on it. It was produced by Mike and Davey Warsop, which I did not know Davey had anything to do with this part. I love Davey. I've known him since the Beat Union days.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, no, Davey was like the fifth Bad Cop forever. He did our first EP that we did before Fat. He did Boss Lady. He did Not Sorry. And he did Warriors. Yeah.
Okay, how the heck did I not know that? Yeah, I've known him. Gosh, I think we met Beat Union around 2006. I know we toured with him in 2007 in England. I thought that band was going to do way more. Absolutely adored everybody in the band as individuals, and just the songs and the band was great. Davey's also in Not, which is like this all tribute band that's a tribute in a sense, but they write their own songs. It's like when Weird Al would do a style piece on Devo or something, but it wasn't Devo's song. And great band. How did Davey and Mike get along in this process?
That was strained, because we had a lot of things. It wasn't super strained. It was like Mike had called me. Okay, so we had done pre-production with Mike up in San Francisco. And then when we came back down to record the record at Hurley, which is where we recorded all of those records, they had a music program there. Anyway, so Mike, he called me and he goes, how's the record going? And I go, good, we're singing it already. He goes, stop! I'm coming down there.
Okay.
And at first he was producing things over FaceTime with us. He would hear it and be like, no, try this. You know how Mike is with like harmonies and things like this. And
sure.
So we did. And Davey was like, I think we've got it, Mike, and then Mike would be like, nah, no, try this. So it was kind of, it wasn't strained, but it was kind of the final pieces. We were like well into the record, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so Mike came down at the end kind of and was like, nope, change this. You can change this here, do this harmony here, and it really made a difference. Mike's great at harmonies. That's one thing you just can't deny. That and lyrics, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
He pushes me to, like, if something's lame, he'll call me and be like, Stacey, how old are you? Like, I had a song on The Ride, Originators, where at first I was going to be like, we're the kids. And he goes, how old are you? You're like 45.
Stop saying kids. Well,
yeah, you're not a kid. Yeah,
Thank you for sharing what you did about, I think you used the word strained, and I can't really see Mike producing with somebody else. He's not that kind of guy. He's the alpha in the room, and he wants to take lead in the project, and I understand that. But I know Davey knows his way around a studio
totally.
too. He's a genius.
It wasn't a lot of changes that were made, but the changes that were made were like super dialing shit in, man. You know what I mean? He was like, because he loved the songs. Mike mm-hmm. loved the songs, period. And the songs were great going into it. So we didn't really change any of the structure of this. One, a little bit, and we'll talk about it in Womanarchist. There was a part where we had kind of like stopped and I was like, did this one kind of shouty thing by myself, in the song. And Mike was like, out, that's out. You know what I mean? But me and Davey loved it, but we lost it. We lost the fight on that one. But yeah, so it wasn't so much structural changes. And at that point, lyrics had been, I had written all the lyrics and sent him the lyrics. So he knew my lyrics were good. You know what I mean? There wasn't any fight over the lyrics at that point. We had already dialed in that part of it.
Do you demo by yourself or with the rest of the ladies? Do you demo together, or with this particular track, did you just go in and record it?
This was the first record that was done in a way that we were kind of like separate and then came together to like kind of sing it at the end. But Davey had, we had with drums, we had Myra play a shit ton of samples, and then the drums were built. You know how people make records now where it's like perfect, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we did that for Warriors. It was the first time we ever did that. And like getting our first mixes back was like hearing our songs for the first time, because it was kind of put together that way. And, it was our second record, because like the first one, you have all the time in the world. It's your first record. You're like, love these songs. The band's playing these songs, blah, blah, blah. And so, we played on Not Sorry. We played those songs together and, whatever for years. And then when Warriors, it was like we had been touring so much, we didn't have any time. It was like the label said, get right back into the studio. And so we did. And Davey, we were on tour, I think, in Europe, and Davey started texting us and going, what do you think about this? What do you think about a topic like this? And then tell me how you feel about this, and start writing some things about it. So he kind of really focused us in the perspective of the feminist lens, for the first time. Our first record was kind of, there was some stuff on it. Don't get me wrong. We've always kind of been activists for women, but this time was like a little more focused, and he kind of was like really driving the ship there for a while. So yeah, this one was more in the studio. But now, this last record we did was all of us playing all the songs together again, and it's so fucking cool. It's like, it's so much better.
So Bad Cop's third album, The Ride, came out in June 2020. And I understand you're about to leave for a tour very soon with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes over in Europe.
That's right.
That is awesome. When did you get that call?
It was so funny. The universe is so wild, right? I got a text from a friend at the beginning of November saying that the Gimmes were coming over, and was I going to come? And I was like, unless somebody dies, I'm not going to get that gig, But then like 3 days later, I got a text. Nobody died, but there was some stuff going on, and they asked if I could make it. And I was like, no shit. That was something I just couldn't turn down. I was like, I got to go.
Congratulations. That's
Thanks.
awesome. And coming up in March, not too much after this episode's released, Bad Cop has a European tour coming up yourself. So
yeah.
you'll be heading over there. That's awesome.
Yeah. Working hard, you know us, we are grinders.
Absolutely. Well, I want to jump into the track. It's 2 minutes and 48 seconds. This is an interesting intro, Stacey. I hear a sniff, like of a nose. There's a sniff, and there's like a blah.
It's a zip of a jacket. It's not a sniff. It's a zip.
The zip of the jacket's there. I'm hearing a sniff at the very beginning before any music. It's like a...
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if is that the track before it or something that maybe the...
I'm going to have to go back and re-listen.
Well,
I don't remember. I don't remember sniffing. But
okay.
Davey did want to Davey captured a lot. When you put little things in.
Yes.
And then, who mixed it was the Blasting Room, and he put shit in that he found. I was like, are you doing this to me on purpose? I'm going to lose my mind. You know what I mean? But
okay.
So I was surprised to hear all of those little things being added as well.
Okay. Well, Stacey was just speaking of Jason Livermore over at the Blasting Room. He mixed and mastered the record, but I'm hearing a sniff. Then I hear a blah and like this jacket, wallet, or purse being zipped up.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. And then there's like a floor and snare and kick for 4 times, and then 8 bars of drums. The guitar panned off right is strumming the main riff. The guitar left is playing what I refer to as chicka chicka noise, and we as musicians know what the chicka chicka means there. Then we get an and the here is somewhere between an enjoyable and a disgusted groan.
Yeah. That's pretty much my take on life.
Was that off the cuff? Was that something Jason threw in later? Was that you off mic clearing your throat, or just being funny, or being yourself?
I think I was trying to be funny. I was like, but but they put it in there, yeah. I think they wanted to build up the snottiness of it all, and the real like pushback of society in that song,
When I hear stuff like that, I know my listeners, some of them have heard me tell this story, but way back years ago doing demos, I learned real quick to be careful what you send to record label owners because they get attached to stuff. And Greg Graffin from Bad Religion for years had this thing like, I thought he was saying sick cow, okay? Like a sick animal that moves. But he'd always, like before a song would kick, he'd be like, sick cow! Well, I did that on a Less Than Jake demo. And then when we went to record it, there's the A&R guy screaming through the glass like, where's that part? I'm going, what are you talking about? He's like, that's a cow. I'm like, that was a joke. He's like, no, it's great. I'm like, it's not going on our record. So...
I'm glad that you fight for those things. I'm always, like, oh, I guess it stays, like shit. Okay.
No, I think I think in this case it's perfect. We also get a very puzzled what, and then a big snare fill with a pick slide from the guitar panned off left, a big snare roll, and then we get some guitar harmonics to take us into verse 1.
Word on the street today, minority report. Progress democracy is now coming up short. I can't watch while evolution falls apart. Bury me in history with Nancy Morgan Hart. Before I'm forced back to the start.
The word on the street today, minority report. Progress democracy is now coming up short. I can't watch while evolution falls apart. Bury me in history with Nancy Morgan Hart. Before I'm forced back to the start.
When I wrote this song, it was right after Trump got elected the first time. And, women's rights were being threatened then too, as they are today. Nothing has fucking changed. So first of all, I've got to say that when I wrote that song, and all of my songs on this record was after I went through this massive life change and had to I stopped writing from this negative perspective. I had to write from a strong perspective now. And I had to find a way to write from a strong and positive perspective. And when I started writing this song, I was like, I have to fight for I have to talk about women's rights. And the Nancy Morgan Hart part, I don't know if you looked up who that was, but
I did. Let me give a little history lesson here on Miss Morgan Hart.
Yeah.
Nancy Morgan Hart was a rebel heroine of the American Revolutionary War. She was born in 1735 and lived till 1830. She was 95. It's kind of unheard of to live that long back then.
Yeah.
So she was a champion for women and an early women's rights champion. That's what I take from it.
Yeah, not only that, but she was a bunch of the opposing, forces were coming through her house, and they made her cook for them, and her daughters cook for them, and they made her kill her prized turkey and feed it to them. She was so upset. She figured out a way to kill them all. Everybody that was there around the table that day died. And I was like,
they got a little arsenic with their turkey.
That's right. And I thought, fuck yeah, not only was it for women, but it was for the fucking turkey. You know what I mean?
All right. How did that particular reference come? Because there's certainly many women you could have referenced here, and that's a pretty obscure one. I was unfamiliar with Nancy Morgan Hart prior to this.
I had to rhyme. I had to find a rhyme.
Had to rhyme with a part, right?
Right.
Or start the following line.
So
okay,
I started researching women whose names, to tie the two together, I had to find something, and there she was, and I was like, that is so rad.
I love that, because here I'm sitting, thinking the past couple of days, you're some kind of historian. I'm like, gee, Stacey's smarter than I thought she was. Okay.
I'm good at researching. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, verse 1, the drums, bass, and stereo guitars are all in. On the line, Bury Me in History with Nancy Morgan Hart, the drums go to that floor tom again, and the stereo guitars go to palm mutes there. And on the very last line, it's just vocals, Before I'm Forced back to the start. I got to tell you, in terms of Fat Mike's fingerprints on a project, in verse 1 here, that chord change, it's almost like a pre-chorus, but it's not. When you go to that line, Bury Me in History there.
Yeah.
The previous 3 lines, the band's going along, now it changes. Did Mike have anything to do with that, or was that how the song was written? That's really interesting there, that chord change.
No, it was Davey. It was Davey and us. It wasn't Mike. Yeah, because there's a part where we go back to the A and we stay on the A one more time, which is super cool. Yeah, no, that was something we did with Davey for sure. Yeah.
Ah, it's great. I love it. Well, it takes us all of 35 seconds to get to chorus 1. I love it. Drums, bass, stereo guitars are all in, but we get another guitar. We get an octave guitar panned off to the right.
To the start, it's my life to choose. Not big, it's on the side.
It's my life to choose. Not big and dumb misogynists, not even alt-left liberalists. It's their fight to lose. I'm a model anarchist, a punk rock existentialist who wants to make the whole world feminist. That was a mouthful.
It's funny. The lyrics are wrong. It's my life to choose. Not bigots or misogynists. Not even alt left liberalists. Their fight to lose. I'm a modern anarchist, a punk rock existentialist who wants to make the whole world feminist. They got it wrong, and nobody ever fixed it. And I don't know if we can, because now it's across so many different sites.
That was the official lyric video that I saw from Fat. So, you know, here's what happens to your point. I thought this is where you were going with this, is that, well, we don't want to lose the 124,000 plays we got. We'd have to start over if we change the lyrics in the lyric video. So I get that. So the second line is not big and dumb misogynist. What was it again?
It's bigots or misogynists, not bigots. Bigots or misogynists. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we get harmonies on "It's My Life to Choose, It's Their Fight to Lose."
Yeah.
And we get harmonies on the last line as well. Who wants to make the whole world feminist? The harmonies here, they're great. Who did the harmonies on this?
That's a Mike thing. So we had different harmonies, and he came in and he was like, no, it's got to be this. And they're kind of different on each chorus.
Yes.
Which is very, very cool, you know, which I don't think we've ever been able to figure out to do live. We've just stuck with one, like, you know what I mean? But like, because you have to, you know, but God, it would be fun to go back and listen to that really and learn it the right way.
Well, that was something that really struck me about this. And I know this is important to Mike. And I think Davey comes from a punk rock background, is not the copy and paste.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that about punk rock. It's, you know, usually it's like, okay, yeah, we could fly this chorus. But the other thing is there's different lyrics in each chorus. Okay.
Each one, right.
Yeah. So you can't
fly
really.
it.
No, you can't. And sometimes it goes from "It's my right" to "It's my life." So there's a bunch of different lyrics that happen here. On the last line, "Who wants to make the whole world feminist?" the band rings out on this big minor chord. Halfway through the reintro, we get a spirited "yeah," and that's a 4-bar reintro. The drums go to that floor tom beat. The guitar panned off right is strumming the main riff, and the guitar panned off left is just cranking away with this feedback. And then both left and right stereo guitars turn into harmonics just before we get into verse 2.
What social media was really going on? Opinions without action never gets anything done. And I'll be gratified by trying to play my part. Revolutionary martyrdom won't tear us apart. You can change my name to Joan of Arc. It's my right.
On social media, what's really going on? Opinions without action never gets anything done. And I'll be gratified by trying to play my part. Revolutionary martyrdom won't tear us apart. You can change my name to Joan of Arc. Did I get it?
Yeah, I know that. Those are right. Those are right.
Okay.
I want to go back to the chorus real quick. I mean, I know that this, my right to choose, my life to choose. I went between the two because, yes, of course, women's rights. But I went through this thing where when I changed my life, I began to become the, like, you know, co-creator. Everything that I just found that people have so much more power to create the lives they should have and we should have. To bring it about our own happiness and harmony and growth and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like people don't know that, don't recognize that, don't try that, and are oftentimes just victim of their circumstances and thus have lives that aren't worth enough to them and then go out and spread more negativity in the world. And this is why we fucking live like this. So my right to choose, yes, for women, but also humanity, like, let's get it together. Let you guys, everybody has the power to create wonderful shit for themselves. And that's really what this song is about. Okay. Even though it is under the guise of women's rights, which is very much is as well. But like the true meaning of this is Everyone, come on, you know? It doesn't matter what fucking politics say. It doesn't matter what you align yourself with. It doesn't matter. Who are you really? Go be that. Go do that. Fucking live the right way.
Hey, I'll never be a simple girl.
Hey everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more coming up with Stacey Dee after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits, to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. While MeUndies can't totally help your love life this Valentine's Day, they can offer you insanely comfy undies and loungewear to buy or gift. MeUndies has so many awesome Valentine's Day prints and styles. Plus, you can match with your partner, friends, or even your pets. This Valentine's Day, give the gift that'll keep them thinking of you and score huge site-wide savings at MeUndies.com/Spotify. That's MeUndies.com/Spotify. MeUndies. Comfort from the outside in.
The number you have reached is 100.7 WMMS.
It wasn't just a radio station, it was a lifestyle.
Cleveland is a rock and roll city for sure.
Get down! The Wrath of the Buzzard. WMMS. Cleveland.
The rise and fall of one of the most iconic radio stations in America. Profiles, The Wrath of the Buzzard. PROH Files. Subscribe now wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, this is Steve Choi, host of the Musicians Guild podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. Within the four walls of the Musicians Guild, we'll be discussing the habits, idiosyncrasies, experiences, and general psychology of my friends and peers, all involved with music in various capacities. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.
This is the story of Whitney Houston.
This is the story of Kurt Cobain.
Of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince.
It's a new podcast series
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
they tell us how we feel. They change our mood.
They change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with,
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you're
jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling.
That feeling.
It's coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.
I don't think it overstates things to say that the Beatles were the greatest gift to entertainment and culture of our time, a secular religion, if you will, with their universal appeal and demonstrable impact on people's lives. I'm Robert Rodriguez, host of Something About the Beatles. With every episode, I speak with historians, musicians, artists, and Beatle witnesses, all in the service of fresh insights into the most joyous cultural entity the world has ever known. I hope you'll join me and listen to Something About the Beatles, now on Evergreen and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, what's up? This is Blake Weiland. I'm the host of the Tone Mob Podcast. It's a show where I interview guitar people about guitar stuff. We talk about their pedals, their amps, their accessories, their preferences, all that stuff, as well as a healthy dose of whatever comes up. Topics have ranged from aliens to addiction and anywhere in between. Oh yeah, and pizza. We're definitely going to be talking about pizza. So get the show wherever you're listening to this podcast at. Just search The Tone Mob in your search bar and it will pop right up. Come join us. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks for checking it out.
What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty, host of the Punk Rock MBA podcast, part of the Sound Talent Media podcast network. My podcast is all about doing what you love for a living, and every week I sit down and talk to people who have done exactly that. For example, musicians like Tommy from Between the Buried and Me, Matt from Periphery, Lil Lotus and Shinigami, among many others, photographers, artists, designers, YouTubers like Glenn Fricker and Sarah Dici, and I unpack exactly how they got to where they are today with the goal of helping you do the same. So if that sounds cool, you can listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com, and I'll see you there.
And now, back to the show.
So what's happening here? I love that last line. You can change my name to Joan of Arc. Where did that come from?
Well, again, it is that spirit of, oh, I'm going to fight for this. I'm going to fight for this in every capacity. And if you come for me or for women, we're going to fight back. We are going to fight back. And that is it. That period. And the whole thing with social media, what's really going on is everybody's got a fucking, an opinion, but what are you doing about it? Do you give money? Do you donate your time? Do you give back at all? Do you try at all, to make a difference in this world? So, I don't give a fuck about your opinions. I like to see action.
I think that a lot of us, especially in the punk rock world, we all follow each other, and a lot of us think the same way. Most of us are really good people, but I think everyone's kind of had fatigue from it. It's like, I hear you, you're on your mountaintop, you're screaming the loudest, but what are you doing about it? You just said it.
Right.
In verse 2, the drums, bass, and stereo guitars, overall, it's the same musical dynamics and parts as verse 1, but we get some really cool harmonies here. On line 1, on social media, what's really going on? On Really Going On, we get a harmony. On the second line, we get a harmony on Gets Anything Done. And then before the third harmony is on And I'll Be Gratified by Trying to Play My Part. Right before that, we get this almost like off mic, Is that what you were talking about with Davey leaving things in?
Right. And Jason. I mean, honestly, I think Jason put some shit in there too. When he got all the files, I think he just slipped things in. And because I remember writing him and being like I said earlier, are you doing this to drive me insane?
Yeah.
Because no, the record's turned in and there's nothing I can do about that now. Fuck.
Well, if Stacey's lost anybody by what she's talking about, for anybody listening, so we do these vocal takes and we're talking, we're coughing, we're sneezing, we're clearing our throat, we're taking a drink in between vocal takes, but we're still being recorded. Yeah. A lot of times you're like, and then you'll start singing, right? Well, right. that clear of the throat or an in this case made it onto the record. What was the conversation then to Jason? Did you call and say, well, what is this? And what did Mike think of it?
I asked him and then I never heard back. It was like, this is just what you get.
He's like, I'm already mixing the next project. Sorry, Stacey.
Yeah, this is done, lady. I don't know your name. I don't care. It's done. Be grateful.
I like recurring themes in a song, and we're going to get it again. But this line, you can change my name to Joan of Arc. It's just vocals only there. And I think that's really cool. It makes a statement. Before, we get into chorus 2. Chorus 2 has different lyrics, as does chorus 3 later, but there's even different lyrics that kind of go back and forth.
It's my right to choose. Not racist or nationalist. Not this fascist president. It's their fight to lose. I'm a masochistic activist. A modern abolitionist who wants to make the whole world humanist.
It's my right to choose instead of life. Not racists or nationalists. Not this fascist president. It's their fight to lose. I'm a masochistic activist, a modern abolitionist who wants to make the whole world humanist. Did I get those right?
Yes, I love it. I'm just listening to it. It makes me want to cry. I'm proud of myself. These are great lyrics.
You should be. You know, you had touched on a little bit ago about the life and right and that, and changing it up here, you go to life. We get a harmony on that line. It's my right to choose. We get a harmony on it's their fight to lose, but these are higher harmonies on the first one. On the second one, it's their fight to lose. Both the harmony and the melody are different here. Than the first time. But yeah, it changes up there. The last line, who wants to make the whole world humanist, the band rings out under this line. Again, the whole band is ringing out there. Let's talk about the lyric change. Sometimes that's difficult in a chorus because you want a recurring hook, something that the audience easily remembers. Was that ever talked about with Mike? Did he want to pare it down, or was this just the way that it was?
No, this is just the way that it was. When I got into writing this song, like I was talking about earlier, I didn't want to keep it just about women's rights, as this is the first song I've written about what I believe about humanity, you know? And so it had to be different every time, you know? And I think that the hook is still there because life and right are so close. You know, people are never going to get it right. You know?
Right.
But who cares? Because it's still the same melody and it still rhymes and whatever.
That to me is your chorus. It's my right to choose. It's their fight to lose. That's what's around it. Okay. Right. I think you need all the info. I think it needs to be there. There's other times with choruses I'm like, man, this could have been pared down a little bit more digestible, but this is digestible. The first and third lines are your chorus and everything around it supporting information.
That's right. That's right.
We come out of chorus 2 and we get a 4-bar re-intro. This time it's full drums, bass, and stereo guitars before we get into the bridge.
All my anxieties are out of hand. We need to overcome somehow. We have to stand for unifying together forever. The time is now. It's my life.
I love this bridge for a number of reasons. Let's talk about this a little bit. Was this how it was written, or I hear a little Fat Mike in here?
You know, I'm going to go back, and now that I'm remembering it, Davey and I wrote this song together. When I first got in the room with Davey, I was like, I didn't know even where to start, right? He really kind of came up with the music on this one, and I really came up with the vocal melody and the words and the lyrics.
Interesting.
So he had a lot, though we were together writing it. He was like, what about this? What about this? And I'd be like, yeah, or no, or that doesn't make sense, or, you know. So we did write it together. The music we did write together, but he was kind of leading that charge at the time. Because I didn't have shit. I'll be honest. I was like 2 years before I had gotten off of all drugs and everything. I still smoke weed and drink wine now, but back then, you know, I was on gnarly pills and cocaine and all of this stuff. And so when I came into writing this record, I was like, oh, I need help. I needed help desperately, because I didn't really even know where I was coming from at the time. It was a volatile time for me.
Okay. Well, I love this bridge because it's pretty sparse. It's pretty broke down. You really could have went a lot of places here. You could have overdone it with the harmonies and whatnot, but I love this part. Do you recall, I don't very often get into guitars and different things, but this sounds like a hollow body or a semi-hollow body with like maybe a tremolo on it. These ring outs. This sounds different than the rest of the guitars. Are they the same guitars?
It's the same guitars, yeah. I think it's just effects that it was put on it later.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm hearing then. But here's the bridge. I'm going to read the lyrics and let us know what's happening. All my anxieties are out of hand. We need to overcome somehow. We have to stand for unifying. Together forever. The time is now.
It's true. It is my my statement in life.
These lyrics are the one spot in the song where I feel it's kind of, I'm going to use the word dumbed down. You know, these lyrics are it kind of encapsulates and brings the whole song together. We have to stand for unifying. Together forever. The time is now. It's like, okay, but there's so much going on in this song. I think that was one of the things that stood out was this lyric. It was a little bit more digestible.
Right, sure. I believe that community is the thing that helps humanity. I truly do. That's why there's something like the Sidewalk Project where we actually believe community can help people get out from underneath some of the hardest things that they're going through. So, it's simple because it's so important.
Yeah, I didn't mean like the rest of the song. Maybe digestible was the wrong word, but yeah, I think it had to be. I had to be a little simpler here. I think it gets the rest of the song the point across. I love dynamically what happens here too.
Right.
The drums go to this light tom shuffle with the bass, and the stereo guitars here are just doing those ring outs. And I think it's whatever tremolo or effect that was put on it that made me think that they were different guitars. But I love the tones here. This bridge is a super nice departure. It's not overblown or overdone, as I said. There's no harmonies here, but we do get some call and responses on the first two lines. We get an ooh 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 on the first one and an ooh 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 ooh, and it's just a single voice doing those. Was there ever talk about putting a harmony on there? Hey, we should do a 3-part harmony because it certainly could have worked. But I'm glad you did. I'm glad you didn't. I like how it's kind of sparse.
There was a lot of discussion about that because like Mike believes that, it should just be 2 harmonies just about always, and not a third. And we had to fight. I was like, we are a 3-part harmony band. We always have been. The 3 of us we sing well together. That's kind of our sound is the 3 voices singing together. So we did try to be like, look, it's all of our voices is our sound. And so I think that in lieu of putting a harmony here and or a second and a third, we put Lynn's vocal in to do some oohs and ahs in the background to still keep that 3 voices in the song without shooting our wad to have a 3-part harmony throughout the song. Because you're right, the lyrics, there's so many lyrics, and there's so much going on. Imagine if there was 3 parts all over that song, it would just be too much. Mike was adamant about that.
I think it was the right call because we get into chorus 3 and then we still get an outro chorus. And the outro chorus, there's even restraint in there with the backing vocals that we'll get to in a moment. It's really interesting where this song goes from here. But out of the bridge, we go right into chorus 3. Different lyrics here.
It's my life that choose, not zealots or supremacists, not the alt-right separatists. It's their fight to lose. I'm a modern nihilist, a radical idealist.
It's my life to choose, not zealots or supremacists, not the alt-right separatists. It's their fight to lose. I'm a modern nihilist, a radical idealist. Radical. I like that word.
Radical. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
That's wrong. It's just radical. Jesus fucking Christ.
I think that needs to start the episode off. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it says RADI-cool. COOL.
Wow. WOW.
A couple of harmonies here on chorus 3. We get harmonies on It's My Life to Choose and harmonies on It's Their Fight to Lose. And after Idealist, we get this big snare roll along with the harmonics on the guitar panned left. And then we get into the outro chorus.
It's my right to choose, not the religious lunatics or fundamental
It's my right to choose. It's my right to choose. Not the religious lunatics or fundamental extremists. To lose. It's their fight to lose. It's their fight to lose. I'm a modern anarchist, a punk rock existentialist who wants to make the whole world coexist.
That's my statement, Stacey Dee's statement for life.
And you're sticking to it, right?
And I'm sticking to it. I'm still fighting the good fight over here.
Well, we get different harmonies yet again on It's My Right to Choose and It's Their Fight to Lose, but it's what you do with the call and response that I love here. We get It's My Right to Choose, To Lose, and It's Their Fight to Lose. These backing vocals are very subtle. The harmonies are great. They're nice and low.
To lose. I do too. I love that. I remember hearing that and being like, Lynn, that's one of my favorite parts of the song is those backups and the Lynn's backups there.
It's a nice low choice of vocal notes in the register as to not step on those high hook harmonies, because it would take away from the right to lose, those high harmonies that are happening. I love that. Was that talked about? Why wasn't there high harmonies on those back? Was it because of kind of what I'm saying, or that's how they just came out?
I think that it's just how it came out. And Mike, again, was so dialed in for these harmonies. He really, he loves this song. He's so happy that this song is alive in the world. And he really did write the harmonies for this song. Mm-hmm. So that was his idea. We had other things and he was like, this could be better. It could be better. It could be better. You know how he is.
Well, I love going back now to the first chorus. You look at that line that rings out, okay? And that's a running theme in this song. It happens 3 times, and I consider that a big hook in this track. But the first time is, who wants to make the whole world feminist? The second time is, who wants to make the whole world humanist? And then it gets all tied up in the outro chorus here with, who wants to make the whole world coexist? The whole band rings out there. And then we get into a 6-bar outro. The drums are on that floor tom beat again with the bass, and the guitar panned left is doing an intermittent long pick slide. The guitar panned off right is playing the main riff. Then the guitar off left joins back as the stereo guitars come back together at the very end to finish the main riff off. And then the last thing that you hear, Stacey, panned off to the right is another pick slide fidgeting. You just couldn't help yourself. Mm-hmm. You need to get one more pick slide in there.
I'm a hell of a pick slider. I'm probably one of the best in the world. No big deal.
You are. I'm going to start telling people Stacey Dee from Bad Cop is the best pick slider in the world. She's better than Yngwie, Randy Rhoads, any of them.
It's true.
Again, I mentioned a little bit earlier that Mike had talked about this record. I think this song in particular to me, you got to hear the Bad Cop. When I watch you play this, and it's not surprising to me, I just think that even though there's so many lyrics here and so much going on in the chorus, you pick up on, and the fists are in the air, it's my life to choose. And this song's become a standout Bad Cop track. Why do you think it is? I think it's the chorus, and I think it lends itself to being a good live track.
Those things, and women, it's a women's right. When women are feeling that they need to have something that speaks for them, when they're feeling like threatened, their rights are threatened, their lives are threatened, they have a song and in a movement behind them. They don't feel alone. And I believe that that's really it. And I believe that it's not just women, but, feminist men who love women, who believe in women and who want the best for human rights.
Right on. Well, before we, first of all, thank you. We've been trying to plan this. I talked to you probably a year ago about being on the podcast. So thank you for carving out a little bit of time.
I'm so grateful you wanted to talk to me. I've been dying to be asked to be in your circle. I love you, Chris. I always love seeing you, and I love your team. You guys are great.
Thank you so much, and back at you for that. Love your team as well. And before we break, let's talk a little bit about this Bad Cop European tour. We touched on it a little bit, but who are you going out with over there?
We're going out with the Baboon Show. Do you know them?
I do not. No.
They are a Swedish band that are actually pretty big in Germany and Sweden and all those kind of areas. And yeah, they actually did a cover of this song of Womanarchist.
No way.
a couple years ago. Yeah, they did. And this is their like 20-year anniversary tour or something. I should be better at that. I should know. So they wanted us to be main support, and we thought that would be great. They're kind of like a rock and roll-y punk band, but with great energy, and they have also a conscious message in their music, and so it's a good pairing.
They're called The Baboon Show.
The Baboon Show, yeah.
I love the name. Well, hey, Stacey, love you. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to leave all the listeners before Chris and I wrap this up with The Baboon Show's cover of Womanarchist.
Before I'm forced back to the start, it's my life to choose. Not bigots or misogynists, not even all left liberalists. It's their fight to lose. I'm a modern anarchist, a punk rock existentialist who wants to make the whole world feminist.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Stacey Dee. And just to clarify, this cover is by Itchy featuring Cecilia from The Baboon Show. So go check that out wherever you listen to music. And stick around. We got lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
Welcome to us talking about our podcast for a minute.
What's the name of that podcast?
That's Axe to Grind. And right now you're going to be getting a little taste of it, right down to the shaky microphone and all.
And my name's Bob.
And my name's Patrick, and usually we're joined by Tom.
Tom's the best. Tom has a real grown-up job that requires him to be at work, but we talk about decidedly not so grown-up things like
hardcore music and things that people that like hardcore music tend to like.
So that could be the latest shows, revisiting classic material, talking about the new classics, all the little dorm room nonsense that you imagine from niche music podcasts that you either love, want to love, or hate.
Yeah, imagine all the emotions that you have towards a genre that has impacted your life, and then condense them down to an hour to 2 hours a week.
So triangulate your speakers, think about jumping off the bed, singing along, dancing like an idiot, and listen to Axe to Grind podcast.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Pandolfi inviting you to check out the new season of my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, with new episodes airing now.
Hearing it in that room, these guys playing this thing and trying to figure out how to play this song was mind-blowing. It's so inspiring to know there's so much more to it than you ever thought. And it just opened another door.
But when people find faith because they need to, in terms of just filling a void to feel better without actually being better, that's when it becomes a crutch, much like drugs and alcohol do.
Man, I don't have all the time in the world here. If I want to be a professional bluegrass musician, I felt like I had to take a very strategic approach, just trying to get rid of the barriers and figure out what those barriers were.
The feelings still come and I have to reckon with that, but I think I have better ways of moving forward and not being stuck, which I think was the killer for me.
Catch all that and so much more on the new season of Inside the Musician's Brain.
Hey, what's up? My name's Lurk, and I'm the host of Lambgoat's Band Flip podcast. Every week I have in-depth conversations with bands from all over the scene, big and small. We also like to keep our finger on the pulse and showcase up-and-coming bands on the show as well. So come check out Lambgoat's Band Flip podcast.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the one-hit thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder. Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow @gmail.com. This week's featured artist is Vancouver power pop, alt rock, emo pop, indie rock, slacker rock, pop punk band, Slip-Ons. That's from their bio, not me. Singer Brock Pytel was the drummer for my favorite band, legendary Canadian punks, the Doughboys, and bassist Brian Minato is the former bass player for Sarah McLachlan. Brock recently mailed me some Slip-Ons vinyl. Thanks, buddy. And you sound better than ever here. Here's a snippet of their song, Greystone.
Things are getting scary. Witches casting spells, laying under greystone. Oh, so much more to tell. Detroit Wizard Tunnel, the time to corroborate. The ghetto coast is boring now. You better get your story straight.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
So, Chris, I thought that was a pretty fun and relevant episode in modern times. And I got to say, one of the things that struck me at first was thinking about how tough it must be to have so many heads butting when you're making a record. You got the band themselves. So sometimes within your own band, as you well know, Chris, you have heads butting. Then you have the producer. And in this instance, it's two different people producing. So that had to be a little bit of a nightmare. I know that you alluded to it and she got into it some, but yeah, it sounded kind of challenging.
I was really surprised, Chris, this was a co-produce, okay? When I saw Fat Mike, I did not know that they had history with Davey. I've known Davey, like I said, forever, and I'm sure he's listening. He's a fan of the show. Love you, buddy. But Davey's not a confrontational person, but Fat Mike is very opinionated.
Yeah,
he'll be the first to tell you he likes things a certain way. He was the only songwriter in his band. He wrote all the NoFX catalog, and here he comes in to produce, and I could see, I think she was, I don't want to say she was dancing around it. She was forthright, but I think that they definitely butted heads in the studio, and it seems like it all worked out for the best.
I'm sure you'd agree, though, you do need brutal honesty to make something great, right?
You do. There was who was it? I think it was Anderson Cooper was interviewing Rick Rubin. It's a great clip that's out there. You can find on YouTube or wherever, but he's interviewing him and basically he's just like, do you play instruments? He's like, barely. Do you know anything? Rick's like, I don't know anything about music. I just know what I like and what I don't like. And I'm brutally honest with people. And that has produced results for a lot of artists. And sometimes that decisiveness of just knowing, and I feel that I know that sometimes. I think that you do. It's like, okay, maybe I don't like this song. It doesn't connect with me at my age, but this is a good song. I can appreciate it for what it's worth.
There's something to be said. If it's not the whole record, even if it's a song by song basis, maybe it's the writer of the song, or maybe you just put it in the hands of the producer. You need someone to have the vision for that piece, that song, that recording, or else you're going to end up with a lot of compromises, right? Everything at 50% or 60% of what someone wants. And maybe that's not a winning formula.
No. And I'll tell you, if Fat Mike wasn't involved with this isn't a knock against Davey at all, but it would have been different. Yeah. I can hear his stamp on some of those harmonies. Those are definitely in the NoFX world, those odd minor harmonies that Mike is so famous for. Another thing with this track, Chris, is lyrically, on paper, it says what it says, but I kind of had a feeling there was more under the hood here. I really did, and Stacey kind of corroborated that, basically saying, this is what it is on paper, but I was going through so much at a personal level that also came out in this song, and I feel that now when I hear her talk about being humanist, and that's getting in touch with your own spirit sometimes.
I do like the idea that Stacey talked about. She didn't say it in these words, but basically it was, be the change you want to see in the world. That was basically what she said. You can, and look, I'm guilty of complaining about things and voicing my opinion about things, but also to a certain extent, probably to more of an extent, go out and be that person that you want to interact with. Go out and do those things to change the world. That's going to go a lot further than just complaining about it. And I do think that writing a song that inspires people in this instance is one of those positive things to do in the world.
Absolutely, and this is Bad Cop's hit. You'll watch him play it live, and the audience loves it. I love that there was a couple people, Davey and Jason Livermore, who mixed the record, that like to leave the little accidents, the little happy mistakes in. And there's Mike going, "What are you doing? What's that noise?" And if anything, I thought there would have been on the shoe would have been on the other foot, that Mike would have been okay with leaving some of that in. I still stand by the sniff at the top. Someone sniffed their nose. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it had something to do with Mike. I don't know.
Yeah. Chris, and like you said, this is a feminist anthem. We've had a lot of great feminist anthems. Think about it. In the 90s, we had Just a Girl from No Doubt. That was a big one. In recent times, I think of like This Is Why from Paramore, Kill Bill from SZA. If you go back again, most of L7's catalog, La Tigra's catalog, Halsey in recent years, Joan Jett. We talk about Joan Jett a lot. And it's a very positive thing to have out there in the world.
It was really cool. As I said near the end, I've been chasing Stacey around forever to be on the show. She's a fan of it, and we finally got to make it happen. And I'll give the Bad Cop ladies one more shout out. Thanks again for letting us use your rehearsal space. It was very, very cool. I'd like to thank everyone who signed up for the Patreon that we launched late last year, and we really got things cooking this year. Thanks to each and every one of you who signs up each week over at ChrisDeMakes.com. And go check out our Facebook page, the Chris DeMakes a Podcast Facebook group with over 5,000 members. Go over there and hang out with us, talk to us, shoot the crap. Chris also updates every week the Chris DeMakes a Podcast Instagram page, where he puts up all kinds of cool videos that you like to see. And what else, Chris? What else did I miss?
That's all. Just we love the interaction. We love to hear from you. We want to hear what you like, what you want, what you don't like. I don't know. Hopefully there's not too much stuff you don't like, but hey, we'll take it under consideration, you know? And as always, we love those 5-star reviews if you want to leave us one on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Look, I don't want to beg for them. I'm just saying, if you like the podcast, that helps us out. But like Chris said, the most direct way to help us out is go check out our Patreon. Sometimes we even throw some free stuff up on there. So go peruse it. And if you got a few extra bucks and you want to help us continue doing what we're doing, ChrisDeMakes.com is the place to do it.
That's right. We appreciate your support. Thanks for listening this week and always. Want to thank this week's guest, Stacey Dee, for sitting with us. And we'll see you next week.
Bowie, Dylan, Marley. You've heard the names and maybe you've heard their songs, but what about the stories behind the records that made titans of music like these so universally loved and important? Join me, Josh Adam Myers, host of The 500, as each week I go through a different album from Rolling Stone magazine's 500 Greatest Albums list from 2012 with an incredible lineup of comedians, actors, and musicians talking about how the music has impacted their lives. New episodes of The 500 come out every Wednesday. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Daniela Clark.
I'm Barbara Ann Wild.
And we are the Honest AF Show.
Our podcast is real, honest conversation with our celebrity friends and pros.
Covering our anything but average rock and roll lifestyles.
All while tackling the hell that is aging and the battle of beauty.
Oh yeah, nothing is off the table.
The Honest AF Show is available wherever you get your podcasts.